If you've ever traveled along Broad Street just north of Philadelphia City Hall, you might have spotted them standing there, along the narrow median strip. A small band of demonstrators, mostly silver-haired women, asking you to honk your horn.
Oh, I sort of leave here deaf sometimes.
That's Celeste Zappala, and she doesn't want you to forget about the wars.
We, as a little group, have signs that say honk for peace, honk to end the wars, and support our troops, bring them home now.
The first part of her plan is working, and the discordant din blares along the block for an hour, but Zappala thinks it does much more.
Even if it's, a 2-second honk, it's 2 seconds of solidarity. It's 2 seconds of consciousness raising. It's just a way to remind people that there are wars going on in their name.
Now, 10 years after the United States first waged war in Afghanistan, there's a lot of honking. Zappala says the nation has been following a frightening path, but she is driven by personal reasons as well.
My son, Sergeant Sherwood Baker, was killed in Iraq on April the 26th, 2004. And I knew before he went that the war was wrong. I wasn't loud enough.
Baker was the first Pennsylvania National Guard soldier to be killed in action since 1945.
When he was killed, my family and I made a decision that we would speak out.
After college, Baker worked as a nursery school teacher and a social worker, caring for mentally handicapped adults, even helping one couple to get married. Zappala describes her son as someone who wouldn't let you stay sad if he was around, that loved kids and drew people to him.
Musical, he was a disc jockey, he was a funny guy.
And Zappala says Baker was the kind of guy you could count on.
If you were in trouble and you decide you had 3 people to call, he'd be one of the people you'd want to call to help you out.
Baker was a big guy too, and he answered that sort of call in 1996 to fill sandbags as the Susquehanna River was threatening to flood Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania, where he was living at the time. He found himself working side by side with National Guard soldiers and later told his mother that he liked the guys.
And in 1997, when he joined the National Guard, they promised that they would clear up his student loans and he would have all this extra money and he could get his house.
Zappala was concerned, like the mother of any soldier, but her son reassured her that the National Guard didn't go to war. He told her that they just helped out at disasters.
And what's the worst that could happen, Mom? Maybe I'd have to arrest you and Daddy at a demonstration.
Zappala has been a lifelong anti-war demonstrator.
Celeste was born an activist.
That's Zappala's lifetime friend, Ann Ewing. They've been fighting for peace together for decades, going back to the Vietnam era.
The Vietnam War was pointless, a waste of life.
Then, in 2003, with American wars underway in Iraq and Afghanistan, the Pennsylvania Guard was called to active duty for the first time since World War II.
Well, he was conflicted, but he said, I've taken an oath before God, and I will go and do my duty and bring myself and my men home safely.
Zappala says Baker's unit was on a mission providing security for the Iraq Survey Group, which was still looking for weapons of mass destruction.
There was some kind of explosion in a factory building. Don't know what it was, really, never did learn. And he was killed.
As soon as they got the news, Zappala says her family sensed a turning point.
I knew that night, his father knew it, brothers knew it, we were not going to be quiet. This was wrong. And I wasn't going to let anybody co-opt his death and wrap their flags around it and call it right.
Behind her glasses, tears are welling in this bereaved mother's eyes one more time, but she grabs every chance to engage those passing by. Another mom, with a son in Iraq, stops to commiserate over the treatment of soldiers, but defends the mission. A homeless Vietnam veteran walks up and asks Zappala for help, and she hands him a little cash, asking only that he spend it on food. He lashes out as he walks away.
We're not drug addicts. We were betrayed.
Ewing says that these encounters are not unusual, but that her friend handles rejection well.
Well, Celeste's persistence is staggering. There are people here who, will give you the finger and that sort of thing. Her grace in the face of that is always a lesson.
But looking forward, Zappala admits that she has not been feeling hopeful for a while.
In a lot of ways, I see, a great nation that's crumbling under the weight of its own greed and bad decisions. And it's frightening to me.
She seems concerned in particular with the generation now entering the workforce at the same point in life as her son when he first joined the Guard.
I see that many young people finish college with enormous loans and they can't find a job. The best they can do is Starbucks.
Yet Zapala laments she has seldom found much youthful support in resistance to the wars.
Kind of sick at heart that it's all old people, it's Vietnam vets, it's parents of military.
She was feeling just as discouraged 6 years ago when she happened upon a man with his 9-year-old son who were protesting alone on the same spot. Zapala and her friends have been standing with him ever since.
There are always at least 3 of us, sometimes as many as 30 of us. We've been here through blizzards, rain, and heat.
Jeff Harland was fearing for the life of his brother, who was in the military and had just been deployed to Kuwait. He conceived of this Final Friday protest, held on the last Friday of each month, and finds encouragement in Zapala's support.
Oh, her work is so inspiring. I mean, I was honored that she wanted to come out here and stand with me.
Now, much as when she first found Harlan, Zapala is suddenly finding new inspiration in the faces of the recent Occupy Wall Street protesters.
I'm very excited about what's going on in New York. Energized by the fact that there are people there who don't have gray hair.
For Zapala, this new wave of activism may have come just in time.
Just a month ago, I thought, I can't do this anymore. I got to give it up. I can't. This is hopeless. And then there it is. There's those kids in New York City, like the kids who went out in Egypt and Tunisia and decided that they were just going to go for it. And that gives me great hope.
Since Zapala and her friends began meeting here on Broad Street, the Army closed a recruiting center at the other end of the block, but as the wars linger on, this group has no plan to leave.
People can count on us being here and in this very visible, very busy place, give people a chance to express their opinion.
As the hour draws down, sirens wail along the block as police cars escort buses from a nearby university, apparently transporting the football team, and Zapala exits laughing at the collective priorities.
I think I've never had a police escort to go someplace. I've had police escorts to leave.
More protests, called Occupy Together, have now taken hold in dozens of U.S. cities. Celeste Zapala has already joined them at Philadelphia City Hall as well as on Wall Street and in Washington, D.C., but still plans to return to the corner of Arch Street and North Broad for the next Final Friday, on October 28th. For War News Radio, I'm Jim MacMillan.